raise the kids? Who you think gonna clean the house? So stupid Abe had to think about it, and guess what they came up with? They came up with a whole set of law called the slave codes. And you know what they were? They were a set of laws to reinstitute slavery. Let me tell you what they were. There was the vagrancy law. A vagrant was any person who wasn't fully employed and didn't have a place of residence. You know who that was? The 4 million slaves who just found out they were free. As soon as they stepped up the plantation, you breaking the law, they locked you up. Wow. And as soon as they started that process, then they created what's called the convict lease program. You know what the convict lease program was? The convict lease program was a program that said once you were arrested and incarcerated, you could be leased back to the plantation. Sometime before your bed even got cold. Then they said, oh, yeah, you want to vote? Sure, we got the literacy law. You know what that law was? The literacy law said that you could vote, but you had to first read this statement. If you read the statement, you were arrested. Why? Because the only way you could read it, if you know how to read it, was against the law. And so they had the legal system set up and designed to reinstitute chattel slavery. Now we got to fast forward. But we don't got a lot of time. But what I will tell you, even today, they got this drug-free zone. Let me tell you why the drug-free zone is a joke. Drug-free zone said if you get caught with drugs, either in your possession, sale, or distribution in a drug-free zone, which is 500 feet from a school, that you are required to get the maximum penalty. Well, guess what? Anywhere you go, in the 500 or 1,000 feet from a school, which means we automatically going to get the maximum. That's when they come up with the mandatory minimum, which say, well, then, if in fact you get arrested with a certain amount of drugs, I got to give you 15 to life. You know why? Because the prison industrial complex is a business. And we are a commodity. We were brought here as a commodity. As soon as they figured out that they could no longer use us in the way they use us, they had to figure out a new way to use us. And when this wave runs out, they'll come out with another way to use us. Until we wake up, until we raise our consciousness, until we recognize that I want you to kill each other. I want you to call your sister by the B name. I want you to call each other niggas. I want y'all to rob and steal each other. You know why? Because I make money all the way to the bank. My daughter's the stenographer. My uncle is the judge. My nephew is the prosecutor. My cousin is the defense attorney. And my brother is the correction officer. My other cousin is the warden. And if you die and kill each other, I make the embalming fluid to bury your dead ass. And then on top of that, I build the coffin. Y'all make the money across the board. So I don't want you to get conscious. I don't want you to be in a room teaching each other. I don't want you to raise your level of thinking. I want you to go out there and bang each other. I want you to go out there because when you do that, my son, who's not yet born, can have an education at Harvard. I can buy that yacht that I always wanted. I can live in a life of luxury and I can continue to capitalize off your stupidity.
Shalom. All praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and elders that rule well. Peace and blessings to you brothers out there that's kicking his word in sincerity and truth. You know, the thing about, our modern day captivity is it's hard to quantify, you know what I'm saying, because, it's not as our slavery is not as overt. It's a illusion that we're free, and in fact we're not free. You know what I'm saying? We're still deemed as second class citizens. You know what I'm saying? We don't have access to certain things financially, case in point, loans and things of that nature. You don't have access to money, then you don't have access to certain institutions that you could use to further yourself in this society. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, we the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, which you guys are the true Israelites, man. We grew up in immense poverty. You know what I'm saying? We grew up in areas that are stricken, are poverty stricken, man, via outsourcing. You know what I'm saying? Taking all these factory jobs that our people once worked and moving them to overseas and things of that nature, which is a term called structuralized racism. You see, all these examples, man, are really just examples of the white man's, the so-called white man's, which are Edomites, craftiness in him, still furthering the Edomite supremacy, or aka white supremacy, man. So this is just a quick sit down, speaking on institutionalized racism. You know what I'm saying? Which is it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a structure, you know what I'm saying, that's that's built, to further, racism, which we know who's racist on the planet Earth. The so-called white man. His system is built to be advantageous for him. You know what I'm saying, and not for us. That's why it says in Micah 2:10 to come out of her, my people, for this is not your rest. We don't need to be consumed with this world, but we need to be consumed with the way of our heavenly Father and call on Him so we can get out of this place. Because honestly speaking, you know, the so-called white man has got us down. You know what I'm saying? He knows what Jake likes. Currently speaking, and he knows how to you know entice Jake to go off, man. That's why he puts poison in our foods. That's why he put poison, on airwaves. You know what I'm saying? With these radio stations. That's why he lifts filth. You know what I'm saying? In these or on these reality shows, man. All that is to keep Jake in a very stupefied, state, man. So this man, mouth is sharpened as a sword, man, and he uses the legislation, as a means to, destroy the people, in particular our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. He uses that legislation or sword, or his sword, which a part of his sword is his tongue. You know what I'm saying? To hew down the people, man. Which the people that he hew down is us. So let's get a couple of scriptures going into how the so-called white man uses these cunning words, these feigned words, as a tool, to keep us oppressed, right? Now this is Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And that's right. How does the so-called white man do that? Well, he does that with his SNAP program, his food stamps program. He used these programs as a means to break up the family household. He tells these women, "Oh, you don't need a man. We'll take care of you. If you don't have a man staying with you, you can live in this certain area." You see what I'm saying? And what does that do? That forms a dependency. Our women, they depend on the government, and they view the so-called black man as a you know as inferior. You see what I'm saying? And that's being friendly, right? So he does that as a means to break up the family household, man. You see, and he roused the fatherless, man. You know what I'm saying? Here you are, you got Jake growing up. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be a female or a male without a father, they're all resentful because of that towards their father. You see what I'm saying? Which causes all types of demons in your life to arise. You know what I'm saying? You know, but they're not factoring in that the mother, she's living in confusion. You see what I'm saying? So the so-called white man, he uses that legislation as a sword, man, to cut down our people, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Let's go to the next chapter, next verse. Psalms 10:4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for his enemies, he puffeth at them. That's right. So the judgment of the so-called white man, in particular, America, aka Babylon, you know, has nothing to do with the will of the Heavenly Father, man. You know, it's totally contrary, man. That's why he pushes, homosexuality. You know what I'm saying? Transgenderism. Um, that's why he pushes opioids, on the people. Which alter the minds of the people. You know what I'm saying? He got kids on all these types of prescription pills. You know, ADHD drugs and things of that nature, and to alter the minds of the people. You see what I'm saying? Uh, just dealing with money. It's unjust. Unjust. He deals with unjust weights, and that's another form of slavery, man. Debt. You see what I'm saying? All his ways have nothing to do with the Heavenly Father, man. And as far as his enemies, he puffeth at them. That means he snares at them. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's very pompous, and you see that that mindset. When dealing with when looking at geopolitics, man. You know, America has been dealing very pridefully with the other countries. You know what I'm saying? Which is another topic. These countries are getting upset and beginning rising up against the poor. But like we said, that's another topic. You know, but the point is, the will of the Heavenly Father is not at all, in the minds of these Edomites, which are so-called white people, the majority of you so-called white people. Verse 6: He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. That's right. You see that pride in America. That's why you have slogans like "Make America Great Again." America is never going. In the eyes of the Edomites, they don't think that America is going to be destroyed, man. But according to the scriptures, that isn't true. America is not going to go on forever. America is going to be destroyed. Verse 7: His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. That's right. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity, man. He goes to all the other nations and he pushes that that Western culture, on the masses. Case in point, you have gay pride parades in the Middle East, which is unprecedented. You know what I'm saying? Why is that? Because the so-called white man pushes his vanity on the other nations, man. Verse 8: He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. That's right. So it says right there that he's sitting in the lurking places, and his eyes are privily set against the poor, man. The so-called white man uses, as we were bringing out, his laws, man, to really keep certain groups under subjection, man, which we know to be you Israelites. You see, passes certain laws, that are more harsh for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans than the so-called than for the so-called white man. You see, case in point, the crack laws, which was recently, I want to say, amended by Barack Obama. You see, those laws were stated that if you had like a couple of grams of crack, you would get the minimum of 5 years versus you know if you had cocaine, you would get lesser sentence, probably probation, and be sentenced to like rehabilitation, which we know the majority of people who do cocaine are white people, man. You see, so that's just one small example of how very small example of how he uses that tongue as a sword, man. You see, verse 9: He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him in his net. He croucheth and humbleth himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, Most High hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. Arise, O Yahweh, O power. Lift up thine hand. Forget not the humble. Wherefore doth the wicked condemn the Most High? He hath said in his heart, Thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief in spite, and quite uh, it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. That's right. So the Most High is going to help us, man. Right? He has a so-called white man, in the trick bag right now. As you can see, you know, uh, people, in particular, right now, Iran, you have Iran and Turkey. What they're doing, man? They're rising up against the whore, man. You see what I'm saying? And it's beautiful because that same tongue that he used to trick these other nations, man, is going to be his downfall, man. Because the other nations have waken up to the deceit of America, man, and they're tired of it. So it talks about that in Jeremiah 51. I want to say around 7. It says that the other nations have drunken the, 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 the wine of Babylon, and therefore the other nations are mad. And that wine is going into what? The philosophies of the so-called white man. You see what I'm saying? And we're seeing World War III being set in place, man. Which really, you want to get technical, it already started, but we're gonna see it getting hot real soon. Right now, we're seeing these economic wars, and we're seeing nations, what I'm saying, talking big to one another. Iran lawmakers burning American flags. Well, that rhetoric is not gonna slow down anytime soon. Eventually with these sanctions, things of that nature, man, it's gonna turn up. It's gonna these economic wars are gonna lead to hot wars, man. So the way of the America is gonna consume it. Let's get this in Psalms 64. Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, for the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. That's right. So saying there that the so-called, well, the wicked, that son of perdition, the so-called white man, which are Edomites, they wet their tongue, or they sharpen their tongue as a sword, man. You see why? Why was that example used? Well, that was used because it's showing, what I'm saying, that the so-called white man uses that sword to consume people, man. You see, that's why Jake brings out, whether it be saying camps or secular, how Jake is still oppressed. You have a lot of our people that say, you guys need to get over it, man. That was a long time ago. You have to, you know, basically pull yourself out of the predicament that wherever you were born in, things of that nature, man. All that rhetoric was pushed by the so-called white man. Meanwhile, he has certain legislations, saying to keep, saying you Negroes, Latinos and Native Americans in that sunken state, lower class, you know. So it's all just mind games, man. You see, verse 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil manner. They commune of lying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? That's right. So a lot of times, man, the so-called white man, he'll pass these laws, after a terrorist attack you know what I'm saying, or people aren't paying attention, you know what I'm saying, during playoffs, you know what I'm saying, football season, man, a lot of legislation is being passed that's going to that affects people's lives, and you don't even, you know, uh, people don't even know what's going on, man, because you just slide it in there. Uh, one that one example that comes to mind for me is the Patriot Acts, man, that has really taken a lot of rights, you know, well privacy from the masses, man. You know, they have access, you know, now with that act, man, the so-called white man has access to, you know, a lot of personal um, information that wasn't available before 9/11. Man. You see what I'm saying? But he was able to slide that legislation in after that false flag, man, September 11th. Verse 6. They searched out iniquities. They accomplished a diligent search, both the inward, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. But the Most High will shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. That's right. So the tongue, okay, that sword, you know what I'm saying, is going to fall on themselves. They're going to, hey, you know, what we're seeing is now is so-called white man is sabotaging, you know what I'm saying, himself, man, by his ways, you know what I'm saying? He's killing himself by his ways, man. You see, and it's a beautiful thing, you know? So I just want to bring this out, that out, man. You know what I'm saying? Most High when it was edifying. I'd like to give all praises to you, how about Shem Shah. Double honor to the apostles and others that were well. Peace and blessings to you, brothers. Let's keep it moving. Shalom.